Okay, well, good evening, everybody. This is Craig Blanchett, and we are here for our work group. It's week one, work group session two. And what we're talking about, or what we're going to be talking about and practicing, is managing what we call a master list, just thinking about creating lists, maybe a little different than what we've done prior to this as we've been health coaches. A lot of times when we get involved as a health coach, we don't realize that what a list actually affords you. Those are potential people that you're going to work with. And then we're going to talk about, once you get some names on that list, you're not going to call all those names in 5 minutes. Some of those names you may not get to for months, but we need to have that list. And then what we do is we call it salting our list. And SALT stands for start a conversation about anything. The A stands for ask a question. The L stands for listen. And then if it's appropriate, when you've asked a question, they've shared a need with you, then you can possibly tell them how you can help them or partner, or some things that you've possibly done that have been successful in whatever thing that comes up. One of the things that I find pretty interesting is how often a conversation will swing down into the trilogy. It's like it swoops down into one or more areas of the trilogy very often. And it's interesting when they do, because the trilogy is so relevant to the life that we actually live, to the real world that we all live in. And so, some people are always struggling, it seems like, with one or two or possibly all three of those areas. And so when conversations go there, you've got a trilogy toolbox, and you've got skills and tools and processes and very, very useful program to be able to help people go from where they are to where they want to be in the trilogy. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the master list, and I'm curious, just as we're talking through the folks that are on tonight, from our training on Saturday that Chris and Rick did with us, have there been some highlights or some new ways that you've sort of are now thinking about what a master list is, and about sort of the concepts you've had behind that, and if you had any changes there? Love to hear from you guys. Anyone? Yeah.
Isabel. I always felt a little intimidated by the whole concept of the hundreds list, and folks like Dan Valentine saying 300 list. I was like, well, what? I don't even have that many contacts. And what I kind of noticed as I practiced doing this is those names do float to the top that seem to be the ones that are, it's kind of time. And so just putting the names down as they come to mind has become a little bit easier habit to just kind of develop. Just kind of, we'll put the name down and kind of review the list, and in the morning during that quiet time, kind of reviewing that, and see what kind of happens as I reach out. So just that less intimidating is that number doesn't sound like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to do that?
When you build to it one relationship at a time. I bet you have at least 300 Facebook friends. I bet you do, right? And if you don't, you can. If you work at it, you add 10 new people a day. Because the average person is that we know at least 300 people by first name. We know more than that by acquaintance. I talked about this morning. If you think about the reality that maybe you have a continuum of 0 to 10, and a 0 is a complete stranger, a 1 is somebody that's maybe an acquaintance, and then you kind of move up as you establish more of a trust relationship and more of a friendship. I don't know if you thought about this, but you can't have a friendship without trust. So both are built at the same time. And then you get all the way up to a 10, and I would say a 10 would be reserved for your spouse. They're probably the person that you know the best and the closest on planet Earth, right? And so we want to move people. We when we start health coaching, we don't start with zeros. Actually, I never really actually ever approach someone who's a zero that I have no relationship with and talk to them about getting healthy or about anything like that. But I meet people that I don't know. Like I was going to say, I meet zeros, but I meet people that would classify as a zero because they're a complete stranger. I meet them all the time. But as soon as you meet them, as soon as they take your order, as soon as you learn their name, they're no longer a zero, they're a one. And they move up, and so you want to make sure that you're having the appropriate kind of conversation based upon the temperature of the relationship. Imagine if my wife, I came to her and I started making very silly small talk with her. I started talking about things that like, how many brothers and sisters do you have? Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to high school? She'd be like, you're such a weirdo, which I say stuff like that too all the time. But because it's inappropriate, I know all those things about her. I know her social security number. I know where she was born. I know everything about her, or lots and lots about her. But for somebody that I don't know very well, those might be very appropriate conversations. So we get people on that list that are usually, if we know them, they're at least a one. And then over time, we move them, we connect with them. We find reasons why we want to connect. And that's what we call sorting your list. You can't sort a list you don't have. And we talked about pre-sorting. Don't pre-sort your list. Sort it afterwards. Lorraine, I'll unmute you there. Go ahead, Lorraine. Hi.
Hi. It's really overwhelming to think about that list as well. But I think that for me, when I listened on Saturday, it was finding that commonality. And I think, because before I thought, gosh, I know a lot of people, but it's like, well, how do you really talk to them? But then when they talked about just finding one thing, either going on to Facebook, because we travel a lot, and so I don't have interaction necessarily with them. We do Facebook, and maybe we communicate through emails, but it would be something along, it's getting a commonality, something that I can then talk to them about and take it from there. Because prior to that, it was like, well, we don't want to tell them about the program right away off the bat, even though we're really excited about it. But anyway, so that was kind of a wow point for me, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I always find it interesting when I meet somebody and then you find out later, like imagine if you met somebody and you were really into backgammon, just to take something kind of a strange thing, and you meet with this person and you're I don't know, they're a coworker, and later, after a few weeks, you find out that they love backgammon. We already have a bit of a relationship with them, and so if they talked about backgammon, you found a commonality, then you would have conversations about it. But what if the first day at work, they came up to you and said, do you like backgammon? It would seem weird, wouldn't it? Right?
Uh-huh.
And so it's like, let's a little bit of a relationship happen, because we're not talking about candles here, folks. We're talking about life and death. When you help somebody change their lifestyle, it's not passé like a candle or like a piece of Tupperware or something like that. This is about lifestyle. That's the way they interact with the world is broken, right? And if they if they decide that it's not as healthy as they want, well, then they'll join your team because you're not as healthy as you want either. And so maybe you can swap some stories and partner up. Learn to serve people. Vonne, you're up next. I'll go ahead.
Okay, I think a lot of it when you go to make a list is that you are trying to pre-qualify them instead of just making a list of people. I mean, we're not just a weight loss, we are a health company now. And there's a lot of people that need help, and even those that you don't think want to lose any weight or get healthy, they might be just the ones that do. So that was hard for me when I started this, is to just, because I was pre-qualifying everybody that I was on the list, and that's why I said, oh, I don't have any people. I can't get 10 people, but you really can. So if we can get that pre-qualifying behind us and just think of who we know and start writing, then you're going to find that you have a lot more people. And you don't have to pre-qualify, because usually the ones that you don't think want anything to do with it do.
Right. But you didn't put them on the list because they only had 10 pounds they wanted to lose, or you didn't even know it was 10 pounds. I find the people that have 5 to 20 pounds are some of the best people to work with. Quite frankly, they don't have deep wounds or deep stuff. There's just a couple little things you can tweak here and tweak there, and they're pretty good, and they're pretty eager because they're already working on it and they're doing pretty good.
Right. And I'm sorry. Yeah. And they might want to help other people, or they might be health conscious and really want to help other people. I know one of the times you were talking to somebody, you were doing a wellness evaluation, and the lady that you were talking to, I don't know if I would approach, because she looked really athletic and healthy to me. But she wanted to lose, I think, 10 pounds, and she had a whole family that was unhealthy.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, oh, she's going to be a coach.
Yep. Yeah, we're still waiting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm willing to partner with her, but she's got to be deciding she wants to, right? So, yeah, I'm still waiting. Her name's Lisa Rip, but I'm still waiting. Not yet. Go ahead, Chris.
So it's funny you mentioned that, Bonnie, because I actually have quite a few friends that I pre-qualified because they were bigger than I was when I first started on plan, and most of them have not been on program since I've been doing it for 2 years. But one of my closest friends I play football with, who's a collegiate athlete and is probably one of the fittest people I know, I finally worked up the courage to talk to him, and actually he ended up becoming a coach. So not only that, but he actually just had a conversation with his boss about an hour and a half ago, who's in even better shape. And he's like, what do I talk to him about? I'm like, are you his friend? Yeah. Okay, start with that. So Robbie's on the line right now. I know he's dialed in. Robbie's my friend that I'm talking about, and his former boss is actually going to sign up tonight as soon as we get off this call. So it's amazing, because we never would have talked to him otherwise, because he's in better shape than both of us, but it's not about that. So it's about where they're at in their health, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Isn't it great when we learn to take the focus off us and I know you've heard me say this, be willing to serve people if we can. Well, how do we know if we can? I don't know. Get to know them. Ask them what's going on in their world. What are they excited about? I love asking people, where do they work? And then I pause and let them tell me. And I said, what do they love about what they do? Pause, let them tell you. And what do they wish was different? Pause and let them tell you. And then the last question, or I asked one of my coaches, that's a coach now on our team. And I said, is it a paycheck or a passion? And she said, yeah, paycheck. And I was like, wow. What could you do if you had a passion? She said, I would help people. I was like, interesting. Let's talk about that. Yeah. Angie, you're up. I'll unmute you. There you go.
Thanks. So I made the mistake right when I was very first coaching, that I sent out the email blast and the Facebook blast that said, hey, I'm brand new at this and I'd love to have you join me, all this stuff. So I've turned off a lot of people that would be on my list. How do I go back and correct that? Or is it possible to correct that? I guess that's
I think that's a great question. And the reality is that, let's say you're playing a card game and this is a mind reading game. The likelihood that people are as healthy as they want to be and don't want or need any help is close to zero, right?
Yeah.
So you have something that could help them, and there's an overwhelming likelihood that they need help, right? So now it's just a matter of connecting those two. And so when you, why don't you just reach out and connect with them? Find out what's going on in their world. Find out how their kids are. Find out what they love about their job. Just be authentically curious about them, and be just a human, and just see where it goes. The likelihood that eventually almost every conversation we have eventually will be going to health, because health is such an integral part of everything we do.
Okay.
You know, another thing you might say, Angie, depending on who the person was, is you can say, you know what, I'd like a do-over. Well, you know, when I got really excited because I lost 5,000 pounds in 6 seconds, and I just got super excited about that. And I just realized that I just jumped in way too much. And I don't even know if you're interested or want to become healthier, but man, I need someone to partner with me. And I thought of you.
Okay.
Something along those lines. Just ask for her. I love it when I find people that are doing another program, and I said, oh, I'm so excited about that. When can we get together? And I want to learn everything about what you're doing.
Okay.
When can you say that?
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I've had several people that have said, oh, what are you selling now? Or, you know, and I'm like, I don't want to come across as that person, you know, but
Yeah.
I did, because I put it out there like that in the very
Yeah.
beginning. So
I'm just going to say, give yourself a break. You're learning, Angie, and every one of us did what you did.
okay.
Right.
All right.
Right? Okay. So just say, you know what? I just need a do-over here. I kind of jumped right in. If it's appropriate. I don't even know if I'd go there. I would just not make it about that.
Okay.
You know, maybe ask someone, hey, I'm looking for a walking buddy. I was wondering if you'd be my walking buddy. I'm really working on this health stuff and I need some support. I thought about you.
Okay.
Those
All
are
right.
some of the, yeah.
Okay.
But by the way, there's thousands of people out there that you haven't even met yet. Right? You won't run out of people. They're all around.
Okay.
So
Okay. Thanks.
thanks, Angie. Yeah, Vane.
I had kind of a funny, and because when I started, well, I was doing Amway, or I just kind of started it, and I was so excited about it that I sent out a blast of emails, and guess who I sent one of them to? Brian Drollinger, my nephew. And he said to his, and he's on there tonight, but he said to his dad, Dad, does Aunt Bonnet know that what I do? So, I mean, you know, when she said she did what she did, I thought about that. So.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Yeah, give yourself a break and, you know, go into those situations and just don't make it about it. You know, they might even have forgotten all about it. You know, so, but you can go make new relationships. And by the way, you don't have anything to sell anybody. Even if you think you do, you don't, because you don't know what they want yet. Right? And when you find out what they want, this is one of the things that I tell people. We're going to go through a well-being assessment. And at the end of the well-being assessment, if I see some obvious things that would help you, I would love to give you some tips and some pointers. But in the meantime, I just would love to get to know you and find out a little bit more about where you are and where you'd like to be. Because if you're like me, you're not as healthy as you want to be, but you're working on it. And that just levels the playing field. It's not, I got all my health stuff together and you don't. It's no, I'm just working on things. And I want to do it with other people. So we're going to take some time now. We're going to spend about 10 minutes and we're going to build our list or add to it for some of you that have been coaching a while. And I just want you to challenge yourself to not pre-sort. We're going to post-sort this list all the time, right? Because depending on what we're doing or what's coming up, if we're going to go on a rafting trip, you're probably going to only invite people to go on the rafting trip that live close to you. If they live in another, town or city or state, they're probably not going to make your list. If you're going to invite people over for a healthy happy hour, it's got to be people that live close to you, right? So you're going to constantly be sorting this list based upon different criteria. And so you can grab a piece of paper. I find these things work good. Pens, they work pretty good. Or you might decide that you want to use some type of a spreadsheet. Spreadsheets, the value of a spreadsheet is that they can sort easily. And actually on the thing this morning, I realized one of the things that I forgot to mention and how I sort it. I created 2 columns on mine. One is called the ABC. A is, and I sort people based upon A, they're an A list. They're somebody that I would love to partner with for various reasons. They're a B, I'm not sure what they're going to be. And C, we'll see if they actually want to join us, right? So that's my ABC list. And then I have a scale of 1 to 5. And 5 is their hot temperature. And a 1 is they're pretty cold, right? And then you can go, once you have the ABC and then the 1 through 5, you can sort it based upon the temperature, and the cream rises to the top, and so then, anyway, that's one of the ways that I do it. And then over on the right-hand side of my sheet, I just have columns. And every time I call them or every time I Facebook message them, I write the date and then I add a note. So I right-click on it and say insert note. And then I type a little note about what I said or what they replied. And it keeps things fairly tight. I'm going to go ahead and show you my list that I have just so you can see a little bit of what that looks like. And but it's nothing terribly special, but it is a spreadsheet here. And so these are pre-clients. So this is my list here, and I've got these people. The ones that are really hot, I moved up to a 6, so they went to the top. And I just go up here and I sort it. I sort the cells by Z to A, and then it resorts them. And then over here, like if I mouse over that, meeting on Friday. So I put the date, and if you just right click on a cell and say insert note, then you can type in a little note of what you talked about on that particular day. So I have some of these people that I've been talking to for a while, but there's, I don't know, 145 people on this list. So hopefully they're coming off of this list because they actually become clients, right? And they move to a different list. It's called my client list. But the template's not very hard. It's the name, ABC, temp 123, where I met them, their phone number, that would probably be good, and some notes. But you'll work on something that'll work for you. So let's go ahead and try to see how many we can add, and we'll do a count at the end. In 10 minutes, what if you were able to write down 10 people per minute? In 10 minutes, you'd get 100 names on your list. I wonder if we could get 50 or 40. All right? So grab your list and start looking at your address book in your phone and your Facebook list. Those are 2 places that have a track record of some people that you know. All right? Ready? Get after it. All right, guys. So let's see how many you guys added to your list. Did you have raise your hand if you had at least 10 people that you added to your list? Oh, sweet. How about 20? A few people with 20. Nice. How about 30? Yeah, 40. You added 40. Unbelievable. Good job. How about 50? 60? Rita, 60? 70? Whoa. Wow. That's like 7 per minute. I think exactly. Maybe that's what it was. So what I'm curious how that kind of felt to be free to write a name down without any pretension or any prejudgment. I know this person and I'm putting their name down. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but someday I'll do something with it, right? Write it down because you can't sort a name that's not there. What did you think? It looks like you maybe had a breakthrough, Rita. Why don't you share that with us? Go ahead.
Well, this time it was easier. So now I have a boatload. I'm going, okay, I was like, wow. And I'm not sure how to sort them, but I don't get overwhelmed. I just get to work with it. But I was on this morning too, and I just stayed out of my head and just went for it because it really is about people's lives. I mean, the quality, everything. And if I don't share it, what are they going to know? And so that was.
Well, you're probably not going to start with sharing the program because you don't know what they want. You may not even talk to them in a while. So we don't start with the program in mind. What if the program was relationship building? Let's start.
I can see where some of them I have not done a good job. And as I'm looking back over it right now, I see where I've dropped the ball on a few of these, and I'm going, okay, I can just come back in and say, hey, and I did that this evening before I got on this call. And this gal said, she's kind of like, and then I said, so what's going on? And she's getting some tests done. And I said, well, I'm just here for you because, she's done the plan, blah, blah, and it doesn't work. But then I said, it doesn't matter. What is it you need? And I'm here. She said, when I get my tests back, I think I'd like to talk to you about how I can organize and eat better and all of that. Do you have any tips right now? And I said, eating every 3 hours. Oh, I'm terrible at that. And I said, and your water, do you measure that? And she said, that's awful too. And I said, those are two, and she said, well, what do I need to do? And I shared with her because she asked. And I said 80 ounces would be best. And she goes, okay, I'm on that tomorrow. And so it was like the whole conversation changed because I listened to what was going on for her. And she asked me to go there. And I thought, wow, that's really nice. I'm not selling her anything. I'm just checking. And she was so appreciative of that after she got over being grumpy.
Well, yeah. And I mean, yeah, you allowed her to be grumpy and you still were willing to serve her. Exactly. The reality is you're still working on your health too. Exactly. And she can be your buddy. I need lots of buddies because, man, this is a daily thing, right? This is a daily thing.
Thank you, Craig.
Great stuff. So, anybody else have a breakthrough or an aha moment you had with this activity? Would you like to share with us? Yes, Rick.
Well, my aha moment is actually overwhelming as far as I've got a lot of people on my list, and it's getting those people from the bottom to the top. And I'm thinking about, well, I just added some more, but why don't I take the ones that I've already got and talk to them and find out where they're at, what they really want to do, because I've known them for so long. I just kind of like Rita, I haven't done a very good job in following up, or, that's me. Okay. So maybe I dropped the ball and realizing, wow, I think I need to do a better job, not just adding people to the list, but actually calling them and saying, hey, what's going on?
Yeah. I missed the, I don't know if it was in high school or grade school or where it was, where they taught us how to actually like be good conversationalists. I don't know when, I think that, I don't know if I was sick that day, I don't know what it is, but it's hard to do. Um, uh, David Bush and I were talking today on the Power Hour. We do these daily coach power hours where we do this 1 hour of connection and activity. And he talked about an acronym called FORD, and you might want to write this down. The F stands for, and this is when you're having a conversation and you get stuck, you don't know what to do. Start with the F, and the F stands for family. Hey, how's your family doing? How many kids do you have? What are they up to? And then family, F. O is occupation. Now, what do you do for work? What do you love about that? What do you wish was different? Is it a paycheck? Is it a passion? I'm just curious. I sat next to a guy on a plane that was a mortician. Man, I had so many. He was a mortician of like 50 years. He just retired. He was about 350 pounds, so he barely fit in the seat next to me. But I asked him all these questions. I never met a mortician before. That was fascinating. It's family, occupation. R, what do they do for recreation? What do you do for fun? When was the last time you went on a vacation? Where did you go, and would you go back? I'm looking for places to go on vacation and new ideas. And I was wondering if you had any ideas for me. Right? And then D is, what's their bucket list? Dreams. What's on their bucket list? What's something that they have that they still want to do in life that they haven't done yet? Sometimes you may only get to the O, family, occupation. But what if we just had that in our back pocket and we learned how to be a great conversationalist in any situation, and we just used the Ford? Right? I don't know. It's great stuff. The other thing I like, and David Bush was talking to me about this, what if you had a ball, and just like when you're playing catch with your son or your daughter or something, you throw the ball to them and then you say, hey, throw it back. They may have never been, you have to teach someone to throw the ball back to you, right? So when someone throws the ball to you with a question, do you answer the question and then throw the ball back? Ask them a question. How good are you at that? What if we got really good at it? So here's the idea. The next thing we're going to do is called salting. And I'm going to teach you the concept of salting. And then we're going to do a little exercise that'll be kind of fun. And the exercise is not necessarily to salt people, but it's to develop our awareness/curiosity muscle. And so I'm going to tell you about SALT first. Start the conversation, ask a question, listen, and then tell them how you can help them, or tell them something about yourself. So you're doing a lot of conversation before you're telling them anything about yourself. By the way, that's why we moved, for those of you that were in the last boot camp, we moved learning and telling your story to week number 2. We didn't start with week number 1, and that was intentional, because we learned to tell our story, and we just bust out and tell our stories, and we're telling people this and telling people that, right? So we wanted to actually learn to have conversations and start with our lists. But here's these are 5 elements. All of these conversations happen around learning to connect with people. This is really important stuff, and it's really tough. You have to work on it. And it's notice something about others. That's number 1. So that's kind of like the SALT, start a conversation. You can do that by noticing something about somebody. So be on the lookout to be curious about, maybe somebody's wearing a certain pair of shoes, or they drive a certain car, or they happen to, go in the door differently, or I don't know what it is. They bought a certain type of spaghetti sauce, but you notice something about something. You ask them about that thing. hey, I was curious. I saw you do this. Can you tell me what's going on there? And then this is the tricky one. You don't want to make it about you. When you ask them a question, don't make it about you. And then, so notice something, ask a question. The third one is ask a question that demonstrates that you heard them. And so it might be, one of the examples we used was when you're asking a question about somebody and they say, yeah, when I get home, I'm always so worn out. Well, tell me a little bit about that. Where do you work? And when you get home, how do you feel? And you might ask a question. When you get home, are you worn out at the end of the day? Or when you get home, do you find it hard to find time to kind of fit in your exercise or fit in time with your family? And by asking a question like that, you just told them something about you too. Because the way you ask the question is because it's something that it's not saying, oh yeah, I'm worn out too when I get home. You could say, hey, are you worn out when you get home and you find it hard time to stay on your program in the evening? Well, the reason why you're asking that question is because you know about that, right? So you related and empathized with them. And then here's the number 4 is a pause. Evaluate the new moment of decision. Do I offer something? Do I offer to partner? Do I ask for permission to bring them into my world? Sometimes you decide to do that, and many times you decide, no, I'll wait. So notice something, ask them a question, demonstrate that you heard them, and then evaluate whether you actually want to ask them to join into your world so that you can share maybe a tip or a resource or something that's helpful for you. And then if you decide that it's time, then number 5 is gain agreement and invite them to enter your world. So these are really valuable pieces, and it's very, very difficult to have this type of a conversation over a text because you can't see their body language. You can't see them leaning in. You can't see them connecting with you. And so do this over when you're really trying to connect and relate to somebody. It's super valuable to be able to be face-to-face on video or in real life. Face-to-face or shoulder-to-shoulder, as we call it. So what we're going to do for our exercise here with the time we have left is that we're going to split you guys up all in 2x2s, right? And what I want you to do is to look in someone's little Zoom. You're looking into their world, and it's their Zoom world. And if you can see something behind them that interests you, then we're going to practice being curious and asking questions about something. Now I see Van has a sailboat, it looks like, in her background. And I am quite interested in hearing all about that sailboat, right? And then I see, what else do I see? I see somebody here with a picture of a castle, right? Leanne has a picture of a castle or a building or something, which is fascinating, right? Rick has got this fun little boot camp in his background. There's a cat behind Bart. I wonder what the cat's name is. I'm sure the cat has a name, right? So figure out what you can be curious about. Maybe just practice your flexing your curiosity muscle. Ask a question, ask a secondary question, and see if the after having a few questions asked, if you find that it was related to one of the areas of the trilogy. It may not. Just kind of see if it goes there. All right? And so we will split you up. So you're going to get a message on your screen that will say join breakout room. And we're going to give you, I don't know, maybe six or 7 minutes, and then we'll come back. Hi, Van. Do you know how to move into the other room? Oh, there you go. What's up, Eileen? You have to unmute yourself. You're muted.
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. I saw you in this room by yourself, and I'm thinking, what happened?
Yeah, I was all by myself. I was asking myself questions I didn't know.
Well, here, let me zoom out a little bit and give you some other things to look at, and then you can practice.
Hey, what does that S stand for?
Good question. That is, I went to Springfield High School, and that is, I wrestled, and I got that's my varsity wrestling letter. So I was on the varsity team in wrestling.
Wow.
And I found that in the box, and I finally decided to display it. After all these years, I kind of built myself a little trophy case with different trophies and different things.
Oh, your trophies?
Yep.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's nice.
Thank you.
So, what year did you graduate from high school?
1986.
Oh, wow. You're a baby.
Yeah. I'm 49. Yeah. I feel like I'm getting older, but I don't really feel old, I guess.
Yeah. 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 And what's behind the S? What's that?
Behind the S is a picture of me and my wife. I used to wear artificial legs, and so that's her and I standing for a photo.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then up on the top shelf there, that's one of our wedding with the white dress. And
that's not you in the white dress, is it?
No, nope. I chose to wear the dark clothing that day.
Hey, so Craig, how many kids do you have?
I've got 2 boys. I've got a 23-year-old and a 21-year-old.
Wow. And they're close in age too.
Yeah, they are. They're actually best friends. For reals. They actually are really close.
That's wonderful, isn't it?
It is. It's a absolute blessing that you can't guarantee. It just happens or doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I've got 3 daughters, and yeah, they're best friends. Of course, they're best friends for a little while, and somebody may fight with the other, and then they go, with 3. But yeah.
How old are your children?
Oh my goodness. My oldest one will be 40 in October 7th.
Okay.
You've met her, Lisa?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Lisa White, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's up your way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Dallas, you've met Dallas, I'm sure.
Sounds familiar.
And then Michelle Roberts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, she's a coach now, right?
Yeah, she's Michelle, she's like 36.
Okay.
36. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. So tell me about you guys. Which room are you in your house?
I'm in our entertainment room.
Okay.
So you see that big, huge screen in the background?
Yep.
But we're going to see, this was going to be temporary. We were going to be here just a year because we were going to move up north, up to where you guys are. And we decided we'll just stay here another year because Dallas just had a baby boy. And she needs a little help. So we're going to soon, I don't know when, but soon we got our queen bed and storage right outside in our garage. We're going to bring that in here. We're going to change this room into, a guest bedroom and put the baby in here while I babysit.
Got it.
So now do you have a grandkid?
I've got a granddaughter coming in about 2 weeks.
Oh, are you excited or what?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah. Yep. I've got.
She'll be the little girl that you never had.
You see the little cape that's sitting over a little thing with a star on it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a little cape, and there's a little tutu below it. And those are for my granddaughter to
Oh,
be
nice.
racing around in, because I stay at home. I work from home, so I'm going to have lots of grandpa time.
Yeah. You'll probably be taking care of her, huh?
Yep. Yeah, because my son and his wife rent a room. We have a master bedroom on the second floor and the first floor, and so they rent a room from us. And then my youngest boy, who's going to be married in August, he also rents a room here, and so we have a full house.
Oh, wow. Is that awesome or what? You guys don't get tired of each other?
No, we just had Monday is family fun night, and so I cook dinner for the family, and then we play a game together. And we were just sitting out on the porch last night, just having such great conversation. It is truly an absolute blessing, just a treat.
Oh, yeah. And then with the weather out your way, it's probably very beautiful. Whereas where I'm at, you couldn't sit outside because it'd be 100 and something degrees. But
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been kind of warm. But anyway, let's jump back into the main room here. Good job,
Okay.
Eileen.
Okay, good talking to you.
Nice talking with you.
Yeah, that.
I'll unmute myself because that'll probably help so you can hear me talking. Hopefully that felt fun for you guys. You probably didn't want to stop talking because you were getting to know each other. And one of the neat things about that you may not have realized is that you had no intention of selling the person you were just talking to anything because they're already a coach. So it's like that was just taken straight off the table. And you were just actually truly just practicing being authentically curious. Well, don't stop that when you move on and talk to the next person. Just practice your authentic curiosity. And don't try to sell anybody. You don't have anything to sell, by the way. I mean, not with this business. Maybe you do with something else you do. But you don't have anything to sell until you get to know who they are, and they have to say, hey, I have a need. Hey, I'm working on this. Man, I wish this was better. They're like, really? Tell me about that. Or maybe they tell you they're really working hard on something and they're making some progress. Tell me more about that. I mean, those are wonderful conversations. They can become great allies because guess what? The likelihood that the program they chose turns out to just be a temporary diet is really high. So you stay connected, right? Because our program is different at its core. I'm curious to hear what you guys had to say. Anybody have a comment they want to jump in? Maybe somebody that hasn't shared yet? Okay, Joyce, you're up. I unmuted you.
Well, I had chatted with Casey a little bit before we got started tonight, but it was a lot of fun that we got paired together because we graduated from the same university. We have a mutual friend. Her family members are going to visit one of those mutual friends. I mean, it's just crazy. Small world stuff.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great. All right, let's see here. Lori, you're up. I unmuted you.
Okay, thank you.
And Leanne, you're next.
I was on the call this morning and I was nervous and I was really disappointed in how well I did not perform. And I got to do a do-over tonight. And plus I was talking to Jacqueline, who has a really, really interesting life. And so I was all about learning more, and that was exciting to see the improvement by doing it twice today.
Good job. Practice makes progress. Yeah. Good job. Daily double, Lori. All right, Leanne, you're up.
Well, I was paired with Clark, and we were paired once before, but we didn't have time to get to know each other at all. And it was just really fun. And we have a grandson living with us that's in Scouts, and Clark's a Scouter. And so it was just fun.
Great. Yeah, it's. I think you guys are catching a little bit about what it is. That this is fun to get to know people. People are fascinating. And when we take a time out from our own busyness and our own crazyville, and we actually focus on somebody else, that's a good thing. Eileen, I unmuted you. You had your hand up.
Okay, so I talked to you, Craig, so I don't think there's anything new that I would, but what I noticed is that when you're relaxed and you're in conversation with somebody else, not only are you asking questions from them, but they're also asking questions of you. So you're both learning about each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think this is a great exercise in the way that if we could get comfortable with either an old friend or somebody new that we're getting to know, and then not rush that whole selling bit of Take Shape for Life, but more into a relationship, and then move into the right time when the time comes along.
And you'll know it when it comes along, because they'll be like, yeah, I'm still working on that, or man, I wish this was different. Or I mean, you can even get good at asking questions. Like if you did the Ford and you were talking about recreation, and you asked them what was your favorite vacation that you've ever been on and why? Because I'm looking for places to go on vacation. I always love new ideas. And they say, man, I haven't been on vacation in 10 years. Why? Well, because my health is in such poor shape. Well, tell me more about that. Avoid jumping in and saying, I can help you lose some weight, right? It's like, blah, or I could tell you about the vitamins and minerals, and I can tell you about that, tell me more about that. Well, when was the last time you did it? Well, if you had your health, where would you go? If you get out of your way and you actually are authentic and really curious, I trust that you will know what to say. I just do. And you got to trust yourself too. And the more you practice, the better you'll get at this. You'll start to be known as someone that's an amazing conversationalist. People love to talk with you because you just ask such great questions, and you listen, and then you ask a question based upon the answer they just gave you. Right? Amazing. So your assignment for the week until Saturday is to take that list that you had and snap a picture of it, send it to your mentor, right? And then put the star next to 5 of those names, and your job is to go salt 5 names this week. You start a conversation. Well, what if you don't know what to say? Well, if they're on Facebook, go scan their wall. Find a picture that you find interesting, and then comment on it and ask a question about it. Start up a conversation. You got this. You can do this, right? And then ask a question. Then listen for the answer. Maybe ask a secondary question. Ask them what they're looking forward to. Or they have any plans for the summer, right? Yeah. It's salt, not assault. Yes. You want to salt them, not assault them. Yep. So make sure you get that list and you send it to your mentor. If you have more than one mentor, send it to both of them. Here's my list, and here's the 3 people I'm going to start conversations with for Saturday. And then we're all in a Facebook group. So I would love to see you snapshot your list and post it on the thing there. And when you start having your conversations, start commenting on the wall. I talked to so-and-so, and man, this was great. And I learned this about so-and-so. Let's really share with that to kind of stoke the fire of what we're doing here. And really, let's get good at this. This is the Optavia way. And we get good at relating with people, and they'll want to join us. So, all right. So let's see here. Someone asked a question. Salt them. How do we love a stranger we meet? We salt them. Yeah. Just make them a little salty. They're tastier that way, right? Those conversations are much tastier when they're salty. All right, you guys. So I hope that you guys are going to lean into this, and you're going to do the heavy lifting. Do your push-ups. Do your coach push-ups. and you're going to get good, strong coaching muscles, and people's lives will change because of the work you're doing here. Okay, that's right. Show us your muscles. Woo! All right, you guys, we'll see you Saturday. Go get them, Tigers.